I'm sticking with the jacket. I like the jacket.
All right.
Yeah. There we go.
Perfect.
Hello.
Hey.
So again, guest appearing Fred.
Yeah, or Fox.
And I'm trying to find the perfect place to sit, without too many shadows. Blasted camera. But, not a very long video, just a real quick review.
Yep.
As you can probably tell by the thing above us, with all the wonderful, wonderful text, we went to see Ghost Rider.
Yep.
So you already kind of know how I feel about the first film, as well as a certain run by Marvel Knights. Shit and fucking crap. But I don't know how this happened. Marvel Knights got its title slapped onto this movie, and it didn't suck nuts.
Yeah. Compared to the first one, this one was quite a bit better.
Very marginally better.
Yeah. I mean, it still wasn't like spectacular, and it's one where I'll probably watch it again. Probably want to go to the theater, see it again, but yeah, definitely better than the first.
And I will also mention for the fans that even though the villain in this is Blackout, which they don't even call him by that name in this movie, one of the villains, he does have a decay touch instead of being a vampire.
Yeah.
The decay touch is actually done rather well.
Well, yeah, I really like the effects for the decay. I thought it was one of the highlights of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Much better than any of the effects they used in the previous film. Although I do find minorly distressing that they didn't have the writer's glare, the ability for him to look into people's souls and judge them and shit.
Yeah, that was lacking here.
But I will also say, technically speaking, that's actually second writer ability, not the first writer's ability. The first writer did not do it until like the third run of the comic books, to which he's like, well, I heard Danny used to do this. Let me see if I can do it. Look into my eyes. Oh god, my brain.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like he was trying to do that at one point when he first makes his appearance as a Ghost Rider. But then, he
just kind of...
Yeah.
Into the guy's eyes, and all of a sudden, when he turns away and snaps his chain, the guy just bursts in flame as usual. But yeah, it was lacking the writer's pentant stare. That's what it's called, pentant stare.
Yeah.
But again, I can honestly understand why they wouldn't do it, because it's still technically the first writer. Also awkward, Danny is apparently not a Blaze in this continuity. He's actually born of a woman who made a deal with the devil if he could make his own little hellspawn out of her. And she is no way related to the Blazes, which means that this Danny is not going to be the Ghost Rider.
Yep.
Quite possibly, at least. Who knows? He apparently has all of Satan's powers. Actually, he could turn out to be son of Satan.
Yeah.
Which is actually a Marvel character.
Yeah, I can see him going that route.
And hopefully it'll look less cheesy than the actual son of Satan does in the comic books. Imagine a guy in a red leotard with three like a little what do you call it, trident on his chest, and wields the trident of Hellfire with flowing red locks.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he's obviously from a Silver Age-esque era of Marvel Comics. He looks kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll do a more serious take with him on that. Who knows?
Right.
Also, there's also a few other things that kind of feel a little lacking in this film.
Yeah.
To make it perfect, they seriously should have allowed this to be a rated R.
Yep.
You could easily see where these guys could have taken this much further if they allowed the R.
Yeah, and I think if with an R, you would have had a much darker film.
Much darker and much closer to the actual feel of the actual comic books.
Right.
Because, let me put it this way, there's zombie ninjas in second run Ghost Rider. There are zombie ninjas, there's Mephisto, who is kind of taking over hell for the devil. There's Mephisto's son Blackheart, who was the main villain for the previous film, but looked nothing like him.
Yeah.
They kind of got a chance to make it look similar to the real Blackheart, and all they did was darken the guy's skin. Weak. But I will say, I think they spent a lot less money on this film, and it looks a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that going in, and just judging it by how it looks. I mean, it looks, the effects are, on par with the first one, and
on par, if not better.
Yeah,
in
I was
most
gonna
cases.
say, and even better in many places.
The people who ran the special visual effects this time actually knew what the hell they were doing and where to put them.
Yeah.
And it's also shot a lot better, because these directors are
really
very popularly known for doing stunts just to get a shot right.
Yep.
And also, we actually saw this in 3D. My first 3D film in a theater. Actually, a very positive take on doing 3D in a theater, I have to say.
Yeah.
The theater we go to, they actually put them in little baggies, so they actually come out nice and clean for you right away, unopened and everything. So, the glasses are clean. The effects in this film actually do sort of work. They add a depth of field, which makes it look interesting at least.
Mm.
Which it doesn't really take anything away, and since I've already got glasses, the glasses actually fit over these glasses more or less properly, so that didn't take away from it either. It just feels like they could have really pushed this a lot further if they went in R. Like, these directors are very popular for doing very good rated R films, with some really fantastic effects and shit, but it just feels a little weak. Like, they really weren't fully prepared to do only a PG-13. Like, they really wanted to do something hardcore.
Right, yeah. Yeah, there were areas where it felt like they were really holding back. And, even with the... Yeah. I think the thing is, like, they could have... they probably could have done a little bit more and still got away with PG-13, but I think, it's would have been probably more difficult for them to get that rating then. So.
Yeah, it would have been a very hard march. Not to mention, Marvel the entire time would be going, "What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Make it PG-13. Make it PG-13. Why are you trying to risk it? Make it PG-13." And I also would think that Marvel has some say in how long the movies are, because almost all of them, as far as I'm aware, except for like director's cuts and stuff, are all hour-and-a-half long films. It feels like they cut out a lot to make it that solid time. It feels like there should have been a lot more development that could have easily been slid in there, and they cut it just to make the time right.
Yeah. I mean, some of the characters really didn't feel like they had much development. Like, even the, what was that one guy?
The monk?
Yes.
Yeah, the monk. I can't remember the actor's name myself. The guy who played McCloud in the original Highlander films. He actually guest appears in this movie as a monk, and it really he could have easily been fleshed out a little bit more.
Yeah, I know, and he seemed like an interesting character too. It's like, oh, what's the deal with this guy? And then,
it's awesome. It's played by an awesome actor, and right to the face.
Yep. Yeah, like, yeah, he was hardly introduced, and like then he's gone. So.
Yeah, it feels like there was a lot cut out that could have still been used in this film, and maybe we'll get that on DVD. That's usually what it tends to be saved for, is like an unrated version of a DVD or something. Also, that brings us talking about further about unrated materials, the ending.
Oh yeah.
The very last 5 to 10 minutes felt kind of weak sauce.
Yeah, it had good build up, and then it just kind of felt like it fizzled.
Yeah, you actually do get a very good end for the main villain, and then after that, it's just like...
Yeah, it just feels like they just kind of slapped something together, and it's like, well, we got to figure out a way to have some kind of closure here, so here you go.
And also risk having the kid almost killed.
Right. But, yeah, I'm hoping that there's going to be an alternate ending.
Hopefully, if there's not at least an alternate ending, then I would assume that the directors are intelligent enough to go, hey, Marvel, this one's going to rock. Let's make the sequel.
Yeah.
And let's do it our way this time. And if Marvel has the intelligence to let them do it the way they want to do it, you would have the perfect Ghost Rider film, finally. We're very close with this one. It just needs to let the directors who know what they're doing go their way with it.
Yeah, I mean,
it feels like there's a little too much meddling with Marvel itself being tied into it. If Marvel would just let loose the ropes and let these guys go helter-skelter with it, this next movie would be perfect if they let these guys make a sequel.
Yeah.
But yeah, the weak sauce ending kind of lends me to the idea that, well, I assume these guys are going to come back. They obviously, Mr. Cage did a very good job with this movie, and there are some freak out moments for him, which is usually a good sign that he's having some fun.
Yeah.
It is not a good Nicolas Cage film without Nicolas Cage going
Yep.
for ya.
Kind of going a little bit insane every now and then.
Yeah, every once in a while when he was this close to transforming, he kind of flipped his lid, which is always a good sign of him having some fun acting.
Mm-hmm.
So he genuinely loved doing this movie compared to the previous one, where it was the only reason you're watching the previous movie is for Cage.
Yeah, I mean,
the only reason you're watching the first one is for Nicolas Cage, and there are a few interesting guest appearances. Like, I preferred the Devil from the first one, actually.
Oh yeah, me too.
He felt a little more slick. He felt a little more smooth. He just oozed evil without having to do much.
Right. This other one, it felt like
Ew.
It felt like, yeah, you wanted to hate him, but it took some effort. So
yeah, you felt that he was a really nasty guy, but that was mostly due to the looks, not actually what he was doing and not how he behaved.
Right.
Whereas if we got the devil from the first one to do with this movie, I'm sure he just would have been like the scene where you see the villain who's going to become Blackout. You just see, oh, you're not still under contract, get out of there, and flips it. But with the original one, I could have almost seen him going, oh, you think you're out so soon? Not so easy. He can kind of reach in there for a few moments, let go, and then flip the lid. You're still under contract kind of moment. And it would have gone a little bit better that way, I think. It was him doing the more slicker version of it.
Right.
But pickers can't be choosers. It's still compared to the previous Ghost Rider movie entry, this is a far superior film.
Yeah.
Far superior. People watch this movie.
Yeah.
It is thus far it is the best attempt to bring Ghost Rider to film without completely missing the ball.
Right. And hey, if enough people support this, maybe like you said, we'll get a sequel, and if the trend continues, it'll be better than this one. So.
Yes, and eventually they'll get that rated R Ghost Rider like we need it to be, and they will go crazy and actually do some really awesome shit with it.
Yeah.
If it does good enough, if they finally do allow these guys to do their rated R Ghost Rider, maybe he could make a guest appearance in the Avengers type stuff.
Right.
I mean, he has not been that far away from Avengers territory that often. I mean, he does do his own thing. He does have his own little niche and area for fighting evil, but at the same time, he has come in contact with the Hulk. He actually came in contact with the Hulk when he was still a wild-ass thing out in the middle of the desert doing a race. What he did in order to knock out... He actually is the only person I know of to actually defeat the Hulk. What he did is he took the bike and spun around in a circle constantly for about a couple minutes with the Hulk in the middle. And the smoke caused the Hulk to faint. He is the only person I know of that was able to take down the Hulk.
Wow.
And that's saying something right there, that this guy can kick the Hulk's ass.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
I know for a fact he's also met Daredevil before. I believe he's met Spider-Man and a couple of the others before here and there. So he's never always that far out of reach that you can't have him cross over a little bit. So I can really see if they actually do go all the way and actually do some good Ghost Rider movies, that he would eventually maybe do some quick cameos or something for the Avengers films. So any thoughts? Not the strongest movie, but a damn good one anyways. Yeah. This is the best we're going to get for right now.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it and we can probably get a better one yet.
Yep. Definitely. So check it out.
Yep. Catch you all later.